Time's up. Let's do this.
Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Babael, and with me here is Aulorien. Am I right?
Hello, yep, Aulorien.
Alright, so great. We have a finals match here, and that's the Call of War, which is a 3v3. So what's going to happen is that we're going to have the first grand finals begin, and there will be a second match being played in the sidelines.
Yep.
And when both matches complete, we'll decide if there is a need for the third match.
Yep.
So that's it. Do you know anything of the players today?
Yeah, I just watched Silentstorm take a pretty convincing victory against Lunacy just now.
Okay.
Quite well done, I would say. You know, it was a great combination of RNG on his side, and I think some really decent plays.
Yep, alright, so that's good stuff. Silentstorm, by the way, is the champion for last week's 3v3 tournament as well.
Yep.
And that's the Southeast Asia Major. So today, they're just here to contest for the $300 on the line, as well as Logitech headsets and an awesome looking trophy.
Yep.
So that's it, let's go into the first game.
Okay.
And let's see what classes are they using. I do believe that Silentstorm is using a druid. And it's against a mage. Chung is just very good. Oh, sorry, it's a shaman. And Chung is just using the mage very well. To a certain extent, I feel that Chung is one of the main reasons why Mana Surge is knocked out in the semi-finals.
Yeah.
Because he took Aulorien down by 3 convincing victories without any defeat at all. So that's like a 3-0 by Chung there, with this same mage deck.
Yeah, so this is, if I'm not wrong, his giant mage deck.
Yep.
So it's a really, really old deck. I don't think I've seen this played ever since, like, I mean, at least quite a long time ago, at least, like, you know, in the earlier days of Hearthstone. Right at the beginning, right now, we see that Silentstorm's got a pretty convincing early hand. Seems that there's nice progression. Quite a nice set of removal and some creatures on board.
Yep.
Looks perhaps that Chung might have a little bit of difficulty catching up right in the early game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Chung there, the only console he can find in his hand is probably the 5-drop currently Mountain Giant that can be played by turn 4 if he doesn't play anything this turn. But he's actually going to draw more cards. So next turn, he can still play I think he has got 9 cards, so that's good.
Yeah, he might actually go for the Mountain Giant, so that'll be particularly interesting. Well, we've got Sylvanas, right? No, he's not going to play the Sylvanas. Is he? Is he not? Who knows?
You mean the Blood Mage Talnos?
I can't see because I'm a bit blind. I'm sorry. So yeah, there we go. He seems to have quite decent board control right now, but that only looks to be the case because we've only got 2 really main playable minions here at the moment. So it's time to see what answer Chung's going to give.
You know, they always say it's good to have stuff on the board, and that's exactly what Silentstorm is doing. Even if they are totems, they are currently not weaponized just yet, they are still pretty okay. But if you look at Chung's side, he definitely can play the Mountain Giant for a huge amount of discount, 3 mana cost only. After that, he can also coin into something that looks like a Frostbolt to address some of the bigger looking threats like the Harvest Golem. Of course, normally as a mage deck here, you want to save the Frostbolt to combo with the Ice Lands.
The building is occupied here.
So it seems like there might be a trade unless he's going to use some removal. But I think at this point in time, the trade will be relatively okay. I think it will just slow Silentstorm down a little bit because you still get the 2-1 from the Harvest Golem, and I think you get the, if I'm not wrong, I think you draw the card, right? Yes.
Yep. Yes, you get a free card.
So yeah, you know, that's not so bad. That's not such a bad trade. Just slows down things a little bit, I think. But I think the trouble with playing Shaman is that if you have too many totems on the board and you don't say, you know, maybe you don't have a flame tongue or anything, you don't actually have a lot of playable things, and it limits the amount of cards you can really put down in the end.
Exactly. So anyway, there's a war going on in the background. You can hear that. There's a 410 Azure Drake on the field as well. Now this 410 is a bit of a problem. However, the instant counter, Earthshock is going to come out quickly here from Silentstorm. That's representing Team Blank, by the way. And that's going to deal substantially 3 damage on Chung. Chung is just currently a little bit pressured. I wouldn't say he's in a bad spot just yet. He needs freezing cards, of which he only has got 1 Frost Nova.
Yeah, I would say that at this point, an AoE would be quite useful. At the end of the day, mostly for just convenience. But I would say that Silent doesn't really suffer very much, even if there's AoE removal, because all of these are just like, you know, generally available for him to use. So, I mean, he's got more cards available for him to use. I would say that at this point, perhaps he might want to put in larger creatures if possible, or at least start. He might put his Argent Commander, I think, next turn. I think that makes quite a bit of sense. Right now, it seems like Chung is putting in some pretty small characters, nothing particularly dangerous at this point, I would say.
He needs to pack a little bit more muscle in the board right now,
he needs to put
right?
more muscle on the board.
Exactly.
Like it's quite slow, especially since we're moving on to mid to late game already.
Yep. So what I'll do here is I'll probably play the Argent Commander like you suggested to knock off your Drake. You want to just completely restrict the amount of spell damage that the mage has. And that effectively is going to help you retain board control, because don't forget he's got stuff like Flame Strike that might just come out. Of course, it's still a big question if Chung really runs Flame Strike, but in his game against Aulorien, that was what caught Aulorien completely off guard.
I think the trouble also is that the later the game progresses, the easier it is for the mage to essentially put up a lot of removal, because she's got so much more mana in her hand, she's got so much more spells. She doesn't really need to have that many creatures on the board, even for board control, because she can just go straight to the face.
Yep. That's one of the beauty of the mage, you know, just Ice Bolt, Ice Lance, Fireball. Very easy stuff directly going towards the face there. But I would like to say that Silentstorm playing the Argent Commander by going for face does show like he has got some form of a win condition in hand already. And it could be a bit of a fake, because we're now looking at his hand. He doesn't really have anything that's really able to win his next turn. But that's the thing, Chung might not know that.
I would say that, you know, he could hazard a pretty safe guess that there's not much in Silentstorm's hand that could really deal a lot of damage at this point in time, primarily because I think if Silentstorm had, he would have played it already. So what do you think Silentstorm needs to do at this point to make sure that, you know, he has some control over the game?
Well, definitely Silentstorm needs to set up, you know, just try and use the minions on the board right now to try and absorb as much spells that Chung can throw as possible. Pharaoh Spirit is fantastic top deck for them. It's completely going to slow down Chung a little bit there. Again, you can see playing Argent Commander but not knocking down the Azure Drake is proving to be a bit of a problem.
Yeah,
seeing how the Azure Drake is
yeah,
still
Chung's
there.
getting a lot of value from the Azure Drake here.
Yep.
Although I will have to say that his top decks seem to be relatively decent. You've got the Feral Wolves, you've got Flame Tongue, but at the end of the day, the playable characters that he has still very limited damage. But in terms of HP, he seems to be doing pretty decently, so it might be a longer fight yet.
Yep, definitely. Well, I was just thinking that maybe, you know, Silentstorm was just baiting Chung and thinking that he runs a variation of the Leroy double rock batter combo that will essentially deal a total of 12 damage without the Wind Fury. But there goes the burn and one card goes down. Yeah. So Chung there, man.
Chung may have overplayed himself here, so he definitely needs to get rid of some of the stuff in his hand, or it's going to really cost him, especially if one of the things that burn is a really decent top deck. And there you have it. You've got the Doomsayer, and with all his characters frozen, I think that really limits what Silentstorm can really do at this point.
Well, you can pull up a combo of probably playing the Aulorien with the Rock Batter, but that would be very expensive because that's potentially 10 damage.
And I wouldn't say, you know, I think at this point maybe putting creatures on the board not particularly good, precisely because of the Doomsayer, unless he can, like, you know, sort of like one hit it and remove it off the board.
Yeah, with Aulorien he can do that, but he will lose one Rock Batter combo, which is why he doesn't want. And it seems like he doesn't really have an answer. Here comes the Loot Hoarder just to dig a little bit deeper into the deck for Chung. Silentstorm top decks a Doom Hammer.
He's going to do. Okay, so I wonder what his answer is going to be at this point.
Well, it's only turn 9, so he cannot pull up a combo between the Lava Burst as well as the Doom Hammer. That's a little bit sad because that would deal sufficiently 7 damage to take down the Doomsayer.
It's quite a waste of some decent cards as well, I think. Okay, he's going to do for it. He's going to go straight to the face.
Yep. And there's one very good reason why he's doing this, and that's because he can effectively win that way. So there we go. And it's simply that, just that. Silentstorm 1-0 so far.
Very clean fight.
Yep, and Chung on the flip side, well, this is the exact same mage concept that he used to beat Mana Surge Aulorien. And it's not working so well for him right now.
Yeah, I would say a lot of it is because at this point in time, Silentstorm seems to have some very decent answers, especially in terms of removal. And the thing about your Giants is that even with the lower mana cost, especially for things like the Mountain Giant, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't really pay off, especially later on in game with the kind of answers that Silentstorm has.
Yep, exactly. So we're going into game here again. Silentstorm will play the same Shaman deck. That's the beauty of the Call of War. You're going to have to play the same deck. And Chung will change to a Druid. Now the Druid looks to be a very, very interesting choice up against the Shaman. Because Druid has got very good ramp potential. That's only if you play the ramp variation. He can also set up some form of a Watcher Druid. And that is also very good up against the Shaman. Because Shaman doesn't really have answers for those. And it seems like it is going to be a Ram indeed. So, yep, Taunter, Ram, perfect situation here. Seeing how Silentstorm did commit to the Rock Biter, Aulorien. Well, he didn't show Aulorien, but he showed he has got Doomhammer. And this direct damage coming out from, you know, weapons and minions cannot go through the taunts like Sunwalker so easily.
Yeah. So I would say perhaps, you know, early on we could safely kind of say that Chung does have a little bit of late game advantage, especially if he does the Iron Bark combination right there. Although I would say early on right now his hand doesn't seem particularly great.
Yep, it's just a very slow. The only good news for Chung is that he's got a Wild Growth, which means he can play the Keep of the Grove this turn. But there is nothing really that he needs to address. Okay, maybe the Flame Tongue there. He can just silence that and ignore it for a while. That's just exactly what he's going to do. Sets a 2-4 on the board as well.
Alright, so we've got the usual, you know, turn 3 response, you know, the Harvest Golem. I think it's one of the most valuable 3-drops you can have in this game, primarily because on, you know, at the end of the day, it's a 3-drop for what's equivalent of a 4-4 on a couple of turns even. And then you've got the usual 4-5 Yeti response. It seems like a pretty standard game so far, nothing particularly out of the ordinary yet.
Yep, exactly. Well, Silentstorm here deciding to take on a little bit more aggressive stance to go for face instead, just to ignore the 4-5 in the field. It's pretty good. He's got a top deck Feral Spirit. If anything goes out of control, he can always play the Feral Spirit.
Yeah, I think the Feral Spirit is always a fantastic drop for Shaman. I think it's really great he's got it in his deck because it slows down the game so much and it's enough for him to, I think, spend some time thinking about what he's going to do next. I think at this point, what it seems that both players are doing, they're just trying to put as many characters on the board as possible, try and establish some form of like mathematical control in terms of like, you know, how much I can take down, so on and so forth, before they really start moving into taking them off.
Okay, this is a mistake right here. You see, when you play something like a Sunwalker, you want to make sure that the Divine Shield is safe, but we can see in the hand for Silentstorm that there is a Hex there.
Yep.
And effectively that's going to be a fraud for me, but of course it's up to Silentstorm to see if he wants to do that. He's only got 5 mana this turn, and
well,
definitely
he's definitely going to hex it because he doesn't have much on the board right now that he can take to you know, take down the taunt by itself. And it's always good, I would say, to put out a hex when such fat characters are on the board because it's fantastic when Shaman has so many like small drops anyway. I think what happens at this point in time is that he needs a lot of these smaller drops on the board to really maintain some form of control, especially since Druid doesn't really have decent AoE removal.
Yep, well, Druid's kind of like slightly slower than the Shaman, so as long as he plays into turn 7, turn 8 for him, it would definitely be good. Seeing how there's only turn 6, it's still kind of okay with the ramp. So here comes the bear, 4-6, very good. Silentstorm right now doesn't have an answer for that. Of course, with the shotgun, Fire Elemental, he can take care of the bear, but that leaves a lot of question on the board, like the 4-1, that is going to become a bit of a threat.
Okay, I'm not sure whether or not that was particularly relevant in this case because it's already been silenced. But I would suppose, okay, alright, he's going to end up changing the 2-3 into a 2-1. I think Chung is beginning to step up in terms of like aggression here, really starting to clear the board. And I think, well, it's still, I wouldn't say it's a complete mistake entirely. I think it's still relatively okay. He's still ultimately at the end of the day has slightly better control at this point, I think.
Yeah, definitely he's got slightly better control. Just thinking about the extra card draw mechanic you probably get, because you can always hero power to pick you up the next turn. But here comes a nice silence, and the Yeti goes down. So yep, the 4-4 bear is still alive there. Will possibly trade with the Zhudrake.
Yep. It seems right now that both of them are a little bit slow when it comes to like card drawing. I think what's really going to be exciting is when the late game, that means I think like maybe turn 7, turn 8 really starts, because again I think this is such a standard match so far, you know. Very little real strategy here going on, I would say. Very standard plays, but I think right now is where we will start to see the real challenge coming up. He's essentially eaten the Azure Drake for free.
Exactly, so that's an insane top deck there for Silentstorm with the Argent Commander, and the Innovate comes out here. The Innovate is not going to really help Chung much. I think Chung this time probably just gonna wanna play the Ancient of War instead of a bit of a defense. You know, seeing how he needs to try and get some traction behind the board. Of course, DOTC is also good to play with, and effectively that's also gonna try and prevent further damage to Malfurion himself.
Yeah.
But Thrall on the flip side, he doesn't have the weapons he needs. He doesn't have the Rockbiter, he doesn't have the Doomhammer, he doesn't have Aulorien. All those win conditions are still not present.
Yes, I would say at this point, I mean, if you look at both the Shaman and the Druid, they're very long, drawn battle kind of characters.
Yep.
It's all about durability here. So I think this is going to be one of those really long games where, oh wow, okay, 2 Feral Spirits, that's, you know, very convenient. But I think it's all about who can outlast the other and who has more answers at this point in time. And it seems Silentstorm is a little bit of an advantage here, especially since he can now slow down the board twice.
Yep, and we always have to remember that the Druid is kind of bad to deal with single high health targets because they don't have that kind of answers. But the Shaman on the flip side has got a lot. Maybe the Hacks, maybe even the Silence. He can always play the Feral Spirit. Bot Control, he has got Lightning Storm, which deals substantial damage evenly. So that's a pretty good advantage that Shaman has. Now this Ancient of War is a 5/10, and there is no Hex. So this is where it starts to get serious, and it's tilting in favor for Chung.
Right, so I think now at this point, you know, he's trying to put up as much damage as he can on the board so he can take that down on the next turn. But I think the sad thing for Chung is that unless he top decks something fantastic, I would say that this is he's beginning to slow down a lot right now, because I think if you compare the two hands, what he's got, he just doesn't really have the kind of answers that Silentstorm has. I think Silentstorm is a much more, you know, adaptable hand at this moment.
Yeah, but we always have to remember that Chung is slowly running out of steam. He needs the Ancient of War. He needs to draw cards right now, and there goes the Ancient of War. Great value, insane. So Silentstorm gets mana lock for 2 here, so there is no way he can try and play Aulorien or any kind of a goofy solution whatsoever. So he's going to be able to play Feral Spirit, which is effectively going to trade the Ancient of War. So this, again, it's a bit of a stalemate.
Yeah, very much. Again, it's a pretty slow game given how these two characters are built in general. But I would say that at this point, both of them seem to be struggling in terms of like the cards that they're drawing. But I think like in terms of removal and in terms of response, Silence still seems to have the bit of the upper hand. I think you look at his face, you kind of like, you can tell as well. Chung, I think, is really struggling for answers here because, you know, even if you just take down one Feral Wolf, there's that one more left to answer, and you waste a lot of your turns trying to take down that particular Feral Wolf instead of dealing real damage to the face.
Yep. So while it seems like Silentstorm is kind of hit, this is where it starts to get crucial because one Lightning Storm is not enough to clear the board.
Yep.
It doesn't get the top totem as well, so he's starting to get a little bit frustrated right now because the 4/5 can kill the 2/4, but what about the other 4/5 there and the 4/3 as well? Gonna burst one Rockbiter just to take care of the Yeti, and all of a sudden it seems like it's still okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is this is a really fantastic, like, you know, problem and problem solution, so on and so forth. I think this really depends on the RNG for the players, and right now it seems that the RNG for both of them really very, very questionable because it's just nothing but trades, no real, I would say, like strategic action so far, other than just like plain answers to whatever's being put up on the board.
They need to start having a plan. And that's exactly what they're missing. It's like you throw something, I counter. That's just not really having a plan.
Yeah, it's like an equivalent of like, I don't know, a pug game or something. You know, I guess, you know, some games just do end up like this after a while, but you know, when you're between a rock and a hard place, there just really isn't much that you can do, and it seems that both of them really just can't do much anymore.
Yep, so a naked BGH comes down just specifically so that it can deal with the Yeti. Seeing how it will actually happen. But here comes the Aulorien, so this is going to change things up a lot. Aulorien plus the Rockbiter can deal substantial damage to kill off the Black Knight. And the 4/3 can still trade with the 4/2 to a certain extent, and Aulorien will still survive. Do note it does have taunt with charge.
And we don't really know if he's going to top deck an answer here right now, so this might be the first point in the game where we see some actual struggling and some actual difficulty.
Yep, so he's going to go ahead with the Lightning Storm instead, just so he can effectively save the combo for something that probably would be able to come out very strongly, maybe like a Rockbiter, the second one, but he already used one, so he should be well aware of that.
And you know, if this goes on, it seems like in the next couple of turns it can just pretty much very well be lethal, and just as well, I suppose.
Yep, 10 damage with Aulorien Rockbiter. Ancient of Law comes out,
That's exactly what he really needs right now. some presence on the board, some cards, enough cards at least, enough to make some form of response here.
Yeah, but well, the Shaman has got some form of difficulty in dealing 24 damage in one turn.
Yeah, definitely, unless he gets a really, really like amazing combination of cards. Oh dear, okay, well that's your Hex. And suddenly that's a bit of a game changer there again.
Yep, that's the second Hex, by the way.
Yep.
So the Sunwalker comes out. This time around, no answer from Silentstorm. Unless it blows the Aulorien rock by the combo.
Yeah.
It's slowly looking good for Chung right now. And we have the Flame Tongue, which is fantastic.
Okay. Yep, I think he really needs the Flame Tongue right now as well. Although, because both of them are totems, it won't be much, you know, to really deal with anything. He just takes out the frog, and that goes.
Yep, this is how you do it. I mean, you put it in the middle of two totems, you knock the frog off, and you knock the shield off, and Aulorien comes in, and it's still buffed up. So here with Rockbiter, that's 16 damage in one turn, and the 2 coming from the totem is going to be fantastic. But look at that. Here we go, Blood Mage Talon Swipe. So this is baited, completely baited. Silentstorm will lose 1 win condition.
Yep, so we've got a well play coming out. I think right now at this point, definitely we see the tide turning a little bit more towards Chung, because if you take a look at what Silentstorm has right now, and you can look at his very resigned grid, he doesn't really have much answer to anything. He can't play anything at this point except pray to God that he top decks something decent, and then out comes your Can Bloodhoof. That's, you know, one of the more high value drops, and at the end of the day, you know, that's some free damage.
Well, I'm just saying that right now Silentstorm doesn't have the hacks. Effectively, Lava Burst is good,
Lava
yes,
Burst.
but no minions whatsoever.
No minions. So even if you Lava Burst right now, it seems like unless he draws a minion, it's just going to be a delay of the inevitable, because at the end of the day, you take down Can Bloodhoof, one more still appears, he still has that 1-1. And he's got Swipe and Mark of the Wild, and that's a pretty heavy hit right there if he chooses to do the buff.
Hands down, I would say that Chung has got it in the back because of Harrison Jones. Now, if Silentstorm plays Doomhammer, he needs to OTK Chung. If he doesn't do that, then Harrison Jones is going to completely swing this game in favor for Chung, unless he dies due to fatigue.
Yeah, and I wonder how many cards. Oh, they have 8 cards in your deck right now, so it has to finish pretty soon, or else, well, then it becomes one of those, like, you know, warrior versus warrior. You just armor and then wait for everything to burn off.
Yeah, so what does Silentstorm get here? The Harvest Golem. Yep, that's not going to be enough. He should know that he's just buying time, and time is exactly what he doesn't have.
Yeah, and at this point in time, you know, I think he can't afford to keep the Harvest Golem. I mean, a Chung can afford to leave the Harvest Golem alone, because he's just, you know, so, you know, he's still got that much HP, and it's close enough where I think he can risk going straight to the face.
Yep, so, well, he doesn't have the extra magic damage, so he cannot swipe the face to deal 2 damage to take down the taunt. So in that sense here, he might actually have to play Sylvanas just to try and put down some extra damage on the board. That's just the main motive. It's not to steal anything.
Yep. Alright, I like this. You know, it's cautious play. I think cautious plays are important, because you know, all you need is someone to leave a card on the board, and then, you know, it's like, you know, you're playing against a paladin, you don't want to leave the 1-1 on the board. You just really don't want to leave the 1-1 on the board.
Turns into monster next turn round, so.
Yeah.
Here comes Silentstorm. He's going to get another taunt totem, so that's going to buy him 1 more turn effectively. But with the swipe,
his RNG for the totems is really quite flawless this game. It's all nothing but a stone skin.
Oh, and his second AOL comes out here. He knows it's over.
Sorry, 1 second.
Yep, so that's fine, and we have Silentstorm just with the O2 taunt, looking really helpless, like a small little Hello Kitty there.
Yeah.
Innovate's going to be used as well. So effectively, Drake's going to come out, and Chung is just really bullying Silentstorm. He's even going into fatigue range. But
and he can afford it, that's for sure, because I think if he doesn't get a... Oh, he's going to Lava Burst? Well, I think, well, that's it. That's...
He's going to go all in, but that's not even going to be enough.
And unless he still gets another... Wow, okay, I mean, it's still not enough, but you know, you just gotta commend. Anyway. You gotta commend this guy on his RNG, lah. Okay, it's all totems. It's all taunt totems.
He has got a 25% reoccurring chance of that taunt totem keeps coming up, but still, Chung with all this power, they're really crazy.
So right now we've got a nicely tied, 1-1.
Yep.
I would say pretty convincing 1-1 overall. I think, both players are clear. They clearly know what they're doing. But I would say that perhaps, like, in terms of the card draw, in terms of the response, they need to be a little bit more adaptive to each other instead of just throwing out standard, card responses like what we would expect in a normal pub game.
Yep, so now it seems like Silentstorm will have to find something to counter the Druid. Effectively, he's going to opt for the coin toss here. So that's a Druid mirror matchup.
Yep.
And we go into this game. I think, well, it's going to be a Ram Taunter Druid. So what kind of a Druid have you prepared? That's the real question. Does he have any meta preparation? No, it seems like it is effectively going to be more or less the same kind of Druid, and that is really looking like a coin toss. The Mulligan face just getting done here, and double intro wall. Crazy stuff there for Chung.
Yeah,
double AOL.
Well, I mean, it's always nice to have one of these at least in hand, but right now it's another slow start for both of them, it seems. And the thing about these kinds of Druids is, again, it's just one of those durability games, because as you saw in the last one, you're out of cards, it can go easily into the fatigue. And I think for Druids, most of the time, the game only really gets exciting once it gets to perhaps like turn 7, turn 8, when you can really throw out your heavy characters, especially if there wasn't any response early on.
Effectively, what we're going to see here is just probably hero power pass, nothing really exciting happening. They're just going to try and reduce each other's armor a little bit.
Yeah, we can all take a nap now, it's all good.
Oh, speaking about that, here comes Alpha's Golem.
Alright, that's quite timely, I would say. So that's board presence for something that, unless he coins and Keepers of the Grove, is he going to do that?
Expedition group has made its way back to
thinking about it, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, going into KOTG is good only because it will kind of make the Harvest Golem lose its value, but playing against a Druid mirror matchup, normally want to set the silence for something a little bit bigger, like the Ancient of War, something that is really crazy.
I mean, it looks like this Harvest Golem might get a lot of value, especially in terms of number of times it's going to hit and everything. But again, I mean, at the end of the day, if you take a look at their hand, it's only really going to start making sense. This whole game's only really going to start making sense in the next couple of turns.
Alright, meanwhile I'm receiving word that Silentstorm's teammate lost trio to Azure. So it seems like if Silentstorm loses this, it's over for Team Blank, and they will stare blankly into their devices.
So I think, this is going to be pretty crucial. I wonder if he knows.
Yep, I'm hoping for more games here, so effectively I'm going to be rooting for Silentstorm.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Campus Game Fest. We are definitely expecting exciting things. We are expecting great things to happen. Chung I think Chung might be aware as well. He's definitely taking a lot of time to decide what he wants to do. Again, he skips a turn, simply pulls out his armor, pulls out his hero power, chips away at the other person. And this is possibly the most McDonald's Harvest Golem I've ever seen.
Yeah, man. Happy value meal there. So, pretty good stuff. We are now looking at a 2-3 dealing substantial damage on Malfurion, and he draws Volkstar. Pretty good ramp stuff happening there. Two Rafts as well as a Fairy Dragon.
Definitely got some options here, like especially if Trump puts out something, you can definitely afford to put out a little bit of removal, or he could just run with his 5 drop, and it would still be okay. 5 or 6 drops, really. Okay, he pulls out a big guy, Cam Bloodhoof.
Yeah, Ken is pretty good there. Healing Touch is not really going to be effective, but Silentstorm here can effectively flood the board or play the DOTC, which is effectively going to be able to address the 4-5. In fact, he is deciding to just pull on the aggression here and try and take out Chung.
At this point, it also seems like, in terms of creatures, I think he's got one Sunwalker in his hand. Yeah, he's got a Sunwalker in his hand. He could put that down, slow the game down a little bit, especially with the Divine Shield and everything. I'm not sure whether or not it will be enough to stop the onslaught, because there are some pretty decent cards in a Silentstorm's hand right now. It's interesting though. I don't think I've ever really seen people play Healing Touch in competition, because a lot of the feedback is that healing touch is so pointless, even in later game for Druid, primarily because he's got such heavy counters. There's no point with the healing touch.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I agree there. Might as well be a good taunt minion, but effectively, I just realized why he didn't put up the bear form. It's because of the Black Knight in the hand. He's just trying to play around Black Knight a little bit, which is good. It's paying off now. So the pressure now is completely on Chung.
Yeah, Chung at this point, I think if he wants to slow the game down, needs to put out his Sunwalker.
Yep.
He needs to put on as many minions as possible to build up for his next turn. Or else, there's just really no point. He might as well just concede now. It's a 6, and I'm sorry, I can't really see.
He doesn't have anything.
Yeah, he doesn't have
Wall
anything,
growth,
yeah.
nothing that can really do damage. He does have the FON though.
Yeah.
So that's going to be game. If no taunt, it's going to be game. So I'm thinking that Chung knows that he's going to play a taunt. The question is, what kind of a taunt is he going to play?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think right now for Chung, he needs the taunt to slow things down. Otherwise, he's going to have a lot of difficulty figuring out what he wants to do. Okay, he's got a +5 health and taunt. That will take some time, some serious time. Except he's got a Blood Knight, right?
Black
TBK,
Knight.
Black
Yeah,
Knight, TBK.
that's right.
And well, it feels a bit like a waste, really.
Well, Chung here doesn't really have an option. So there goes the Black Knight, and here comes the Aulorien man, chops down the 5/10, and we have more people for everybody to use
that's,
today.
6 damage to the face.
Yep. He's also going to be able to Wrath here for extra card, which is very fair. No point hero powering here. He doesn't need the extra armor. 1 extra damage. Oh, swipe. That's convenient.
That's very convenient. I mean, that's it. Next turn, you're good.
Yep. Regardless now, taunt no taunt unless Chung has healing touch.
Does
Let's try and drag it out.
Nope.
No.
All right.
All right.
And,
So 2-1.
that seems it's game 2-1, and all Silentstorm needs now is one more win.
Yep.
Again,
so,
pretty convincing win, I would say.
thinking a step ahead, Chung already lost with the mage. He is now down to the druid. What would be a good counter against Malfurion?
I think a good counter against Malfurion, funnily enough, I would probably say Miracle Rogue.
Oh yeah.
Primarily because of the sheer power of the removal. But the thing about Miracle Rogue is that she's so complicated to play, primarily because of the combos, and you have to draw a good series of cards. But that's my personal answer to Malfurion.
That's fine. You have to also know that this is not a taunter druid. This is like a mid-rangey kind of a druid that can't afford to pull on some aggression. He can also drag late game with healing touch. So the rogue here will do very well against, this particular druid that Silentstorm is bringing without much taunt. He only has got the OTC so far.
I would say also that, Chung definitely seems to be panicking a little bit. He's got all these things in his hand. He's not really thought about how to use them. And I think it's as if he's almost given up in a way.
Yeah, well, there is nothing he can really do. Even if he heals up, he doesn't have mana to play anything else. Cannot play another minion there that has got taunt. So I think this is game. So 2-1 here in favor for Silentstorm.
So, there we go.
It's also going to play a little bit extra game. Of course, he can hero power it, so that's fine. It's not also going to reveal the swipe he's going to have. So there we go, 2-1 in favor for Silentstorm. Black right now needs Silentstorm to win to go into the ace match.
I think a very good choice on Silentstorm's part to not actually play the swipe, because we all kind of know that all druids will have a swipe, I suppose. But I think a lot of it is just it's for the image of the thing. I think it's always good to conceal whatever you have from your opponent, whatever you can.
Definitely, and also the question is, most druids they normally run 1 to 2 swipes. The question is, do you run 2 swipes in favor of something a little bit more aggressive? You might want to trade out for something that's got extra protection or taunt. And I think Chung is just really confused about what kind of druid this is. So Chung's last class is going to be the Warlock. And let's see what Warlock did he bring today.
Well, I think Warlock's going to be particularly interesting because his hero power can be such a boon or a bane to the character, because if you just keep pointlessly drawing cards, you're hoping for that top deck, you're just only going to end up making it easier for someone who's quite a heavy hitter like the druid, especially with his bigger guys, or like the whole range of the whole spread of his mid-range guys, to just take you down that much easier.
Alright, so here we go. The game has started. Let's go into the board here, and we're now looking at Silentstorm taking the bottom half as usual. 2-1 in favor for him. Chung on the flip side with the Warlock on the top half of this board. And as you can see, this is going to be a handlock with Alex Straza.
That is going to be quite painful, but I think Alex Straza is a good choice because of his hero power, right? Like, he can afford to go down relatively far, if it's still safe enough, and then Alex Straza himself back to 15.
Yeah, the only question I have is, can a druid try and ramp up before turn 9 to try and just pull on the aggression. It seems like he's playing very aggressively. He's okay dealing damage to the Warlock. He thinks it's fine. And meanwhile on Chung's side, he doesn't have a taunt providing minion, and that's a little bit scary because there is only the Mountain Giant and the Twilight Drake, which will substantially be good to play this on next turn, and that's perfectly fine.
I think the interesting thing about hand locks as well is that once you give them one turn, just one turn, and you don't have a decent response, that's it. You're just going to play catch up for the rest of the game, and it can be very, very painful.
Yep, it can be. So this Ancient Watcher now effectively is just a little bit of a mind game. Because normally handlock, they play Ancient Watcher only if they've got silence or maybe Tom providing minions, but look at Chung, he's got none of those there, and it's really just playing a minion on the field just so that, Silentstorm tries to counter that.
Okay, and then we've got your, hand for your turn for Mountain Giant. I wonder whether he's got it. Yes, he's got the Big Game Hunter. That's a really fantastic, card to have in his hand. I think that's some sheer luck right there. And with the Ancient Watcher, which can't really do anything right now, Silentstorm seems to have a little bit more board control at this point in time.
Exactly. So turn 5 for Chung, and he will play the Twilight Drake. So opting for the Mountain Giant first, that's fine.
Okay, some pretty fat creatures on the board, which I think is great. I think the good thing about all these fat creatures here is that once you put up a taunt, once you've got these fat creatures and you've got a taunt to protect them, it's just like, free damage to the face.
I have to say that Silentstorm knows what's up. He's got double swipe in hand, he doesn't care anymore. Right now it's full on aggro mode, all minions to face. Warlock Gul'dan will have to go down.
Yes, he will have to go down, and I don't think he's got a response really. There's not even a taunt.
Yep, no taunt, nothing at all so far. He can clear the board with Shadow Flame.
I'm not sure at this point well, I think at this point, where he's so low, he might as well, clear the board. I mean, at the end of the day, his last ticket out of everything is his Alexstrasza. But even then, that just only takes him back to half-life. And considering now at turn 6, he's been brought down to 14, I'm fairly sure, it can just, go back down to 0 really quickly.
So here's what's going to happen. The 4-9 will try and knock off the shield, and then he's going to Shadow Flame the 4-4 Ancient Watcher just to clear the board. He needs to do that, but even then, Silentstorm's not going to care. He's just going to play I'm pretty sure he's going to play the Force of Nature just to do extra 6 damage, and maybe a free Molten Giant can come out. That's a little bit aggressive, but that's fine. You know why? Because that's double swipe that's going to come out.
All he needs to do is just wait to turn 8, and you have I think 8 damage, and that's it.
Exactly, and the scary part about this play here is that it will not reach turn 9.
Yeah, it definitely looks to be the case. I mean, it's fantastic because I think what Chung has done in these past 3 matches, now it's the 4th one, is that he's played very traditional decks, I would say. Like decks that you could get off, what Trump says, so on and so forth. Okay, well that's free, that's it. I think we're done here, really?
No, it's not, because he actually played the Drake, so he doesn't have enough for much of anything. But he can still, just swipe the Drake, that's still fine.
Fun, right? Yeah, and I think the thing about Chung's decks is that they're so particular, they're so traditional because it's not geared towards the player at all. It's just stuff that you would find off a list. And I think that's perhaps what his biggest drawback is, I think, because his adaptability and his response is just not enough.
Well, I have to also point out that the main reason why Silentstorm can play so aggressively is because he's got the Black Knight.
Yep.
So we have been saying Tom providing minions, even if the Molten Giant's free, it's pretty easy meat to get chopped down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay, alright, you've got 2 8/8s. That seems to be...
And he knows it's game.
Well, it's one of the last-ditch pretty face efforts, I guess.
Oh, it's alright, cool, that's fine. Loses Leroy Jenkins, that's very expensive.
That's a very painful loss, I think, of all the cards to lose, right?
Oh, and the turn 9 Savage Roar, but there's Innovate in the hand, which he used in the previous turn just to deal the swipe damage there. So this is kind of tricky right now. He can wait for one more turn.
Yes, he can afford to take 16 to the face. That's not really a problem here. But it's whether or not he wants to take that risk without really...
He will die next turn. Coin Alexstrasza.
Yep.
I think with the armor he may survive. So there we go. And the Harvest Golem is just there.
Yep.
Looking really round and all.
Just to make it pretty.
Yep. Fluffing up a little bit. So here, this is kind of interesting. He knows that Alexstrasza is not going to be able to take it off unless he's got, both of them are just so close, 1 mana shy.
Yep.
And he cannot really heal up.
Right now, he could essentially play Sun Fury, go to the face, and wait, I guess.
He definitely needs to play a taunt if he cannot take this down. Okay, he's going for the Watcher as well.
Okay.
He's gonna taunt up. Oh, this is scary. He's not gonna taunt up both giants. Okay.
Okay.
And this is a bit of a problem here.
Yep.
Giant's gonna go and address the ball a little bit, dealing direct A damage
The
as
Harvest
well.
Golem, not much of a threat, I would say at this point, but he does have one TBK that takes care of one taunt. But with only the Harvest Drake, the Harvest Golem, God. Okay, he has to take the Call of the Wild.
And it's over.
Yep. Goodbye, everyone. It is all good.
Oh.
Oh, he didn't manage to clear the Drake. That's a waste.
So it's not over.
Oh,
And he
now
realizes
has to, yes.
that there are two taunts there.
No, they're not taunted.
As in previously, there were two taunts.
There were two taunts. So I think he may have miscounted this point, but I think next turn if he makes it.
Okay. Resurrection Flames.
Well, I guess he's used his saving grace right now, so I think maybe swipe, no, not even swipe will take it out, so.
Nope. That's 10 at best. So swipe Healing Touch.
Wow,
New
seriously,
meta here.
now here's where.
This is why you play Healing Touch,
Yes, this
ladies
is what-
and gentlemen.
Yep, and that's just bought him a ridiculous amount of time.
But I think it's still over with the Power Overwhelm.
Yeah, that's pretty much. How much power overwhelming give again?
4.
Yeah, alright. So.
Oh my god,
Okay.
that was a huge mistake from Silentstorm.
Yeah. I think he knows it as well.
Wait, does Chung not see that? 22 health there. He does have lethal.
Yeah.
He just needs to power overwhelm. One thing, 1 out of 3. You like the Drake, you go for the Drake. You like the Botak Giant, you go for the Botak Giant. You like the cute looking chick there, you go for that. But it seems like he's not going to do that. What is happening here? He's going to play Siphon Soul and he's going to miss lethal. And I hope my math is not wrong there. It's 10 plus 8 and that's 18 plus 4. That's 22 direct enough damage.
That's 4 damage.
If it's a Savage Roar, it's still going to be
Alright,
over.
if you look at
No.
his face, he just,
Yeah.
saw his mistake.
Oh, both players are making mistakes.
Well, I guess that's what, a tourney is all about. It's all about reacting on the spot. I suppose, both of them must be really tired. I mean, like, Silentstorm's been playing for a really long time.
Well, so effectively here, Silentstorm also doesn't have an answer.
Yeah, Silentstorm doesn't have an answer, so
Well, you know what, Aulorien, the good thing here is that you can only make so much mistakes, and the good news is that they will not have the opportunity to make more mistakes.
Well, one hopes that at least in the last match, the most important one, they will start to pay a little bit more attention here. But I think the good thing is now that the Druid deck is gone, perhaps we will start to see some faster matches, I would say, some more aggressive plays rather than like the whole trying to outlast each other sort of thing.
Yeah, this is not a relationship. You're not aiming to go for the long run, You just want to end it quickly.
Yeah, it's like a one-night stand.
That coming up from you is a little bit awkward, but of course, still, it's appropriate to a certain extent, I hope. And enough said, because it seems like the game is going to start soon, and it seems like it's going to be the Rogue from Silentstorm playing up against this particular handlock. That's got Alexstrasza, and it's been so long since I've seen Alexstrasza in a handlock. So this is a Miracle Rogue, by the way. So Miracle Rogue up against handlock.
Yep.
I would say that the favorite definitely will go towards the Rogue for sure, because it does have sap, it does have
All
enough
the
removal.
And
He's also got a gadget sign in the early.
yeah, and all the Rogue needs to do is run the Leroy combo at the end as well, just to make sure of things.
Yeah, I mean, Rocket's got certain important cards that they need to have. They need preparation, they need the gadget sign, they definitely need double Shadow Step, Leroy Jenkins, plus maybe even the conceal. Of course, every Van Cleave, if they do run that, is also going to be pretty good. So here we go into the game here, and it's turn 1 for the Warlock.
He's probably gonna pass.
That's one hell looking hand.
Okay, at this point in time, nothing particularly significant. I mean, again, unless he wants to. Okay, he's gonna go for the live tap instead. I was wondering if he was gonna go with the whole Ancient Watcher combo again, but he doesn't have that silence in hand, so I think even now Silentstorm also knows that it's just there's a bit of a, for lack of a better word, a bit of like a threat, just to look fierce and stuff.
Yep. So Silentstorm already has the Leroy. Now he needs 2 Shadow Step. He needs 1 Conceal for the turn 5. He does have the coin, so that's fantastic. He needs conceal, turn 5.
Wow, okay, Warlock seems to be having a bit of difficulty here, really. No real answers for anything, except even his turn 9. That's his turn 9. It's a long way to go.
So SI Agent, no value, but provides good bot, presence. They're still very fine.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose at the end of the day, the thing about combo cards is that at the end of the day, if you don't manage to use the combo, they have some form of like decent presence at least. It's a bit like your Defias Bandit. I mean, of course, the great thing is that you can coin the Defias Bandit and then you still get like, that free 1/1. That's the best. But even if not, you still get something on the board.
Alright, so this is really the traditional handlock.
Yep.
Like some good old traditional delicacies we have here. It is, oh, and there we go, the conceal. So turn 5 perfect play there, he will have the Gadgetzan conceal coin.
Yep. Wonderful combination.
But
for
he did
Rogue.
use the coin, so.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, it's still a wonderful combination for Rogue to have because, you may be missing out on one card, but at the end of the day, you may be missing out on the coin basically, but at the end of the day, you still can draw primarily because you have quite a few spells in your hand, even if it's just like perhaps the next turn.
Yep, so now for Chong, he doesn't have any giant in his hand.
Yeah, no giants except I think his Twilight Drake, but even I think that would be still relatively decent to put down right now at this point in time. I would say he needs to really start establishing some presence and start dealing some damage before the Rogue really gets the mana she needs to really lash out all those combos and start taking things down.
Yeah, so Silentstorm there with the very aggressive coin play just to draw the card and put more minions on the board.
I think he will play he won't play the Twilight Drake.
I will play the Twilight Drake, but that's fine. He's actually going to Shadow Flame just to clear the board. This is also a pretty good play, just so that whatever Silentstorm been throwing out is going to stop. So, yep, turn 5 perfect play as well. Zoo Drake just to get a extra card, dig a little bit deeper into his deck. Edwin Van
Wow,
comes
okay,
out.
seriously, how great can this guy's RNG get? Right now, like, I think at this point, perhaps for like Chung, I think he's going to play the Twilight Drake now. He probably should because he really needs some presence on the board.
The card on the far left is the Defender of Argus, by the way. So
well, yes, but I still think Defender of Argus is can make this into a taunt, right?
yep, he can.
But like at this point, he would have to have something to taunt anyway. So the defender will probably come in at the next.
Okay, here goes the Sophie. What does he lose? Leroy Jenkins.
Oh my
he
god!
He just lost the golden boy Leroy.
I think that's the terrible thing about playing Soulfire because you just really never know what the heck it is you're gonna lose, and like I think losing Leroy is one of the most like painful things you could lose. Really, draws another Gargazette. Not really a big deal here.
Yeah, that's like an insurance. It's not exactly what he needs, but that's still fine. So this concealed Gadgetzan can effectively, he's gonna try to keep it alive, and in order to do that, he's gonna need preparation. He's gonna need conceal. And he needs the Shadow Step to start coming out as soon as possible.
Yeah, but I think at this point in time, it looks good for Silentstorm because he's got all the cards, most of the cards that he really needs. He just needs to wait a little bit more, wait for like a mistake. Okay, we've got the Ancient Watcher, and there we go. Here comes the Defender of Argus. Here's where Chung starts to really get a little bit more aggressive here. I think that's where he can just like sort of take a step back to breathe a little bit ish. Well, not with preparation, so
yeah, because of the taunt he cannot play the full combo with Eviscerate there. So this is a 5-11 and he doesn't have the sap. Yep, speaking about that, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, once again I call the card that's gonna come out, the sap comes out, and the 5-11 is gonna kiss goodbye.
Why don't you just go and predict who's gonna win at the World Cup and like give out like the match winnings already?
Yeah, let's just start going for World Cup instead. No,
yeah.
This
Seriously, man, just go and just please go and do World Cup or 4D or like.
Oh, he gets a second sap as well.
Seriously,
so,
wow.
yep,
Okay.
This is fine. It's gonna be a sapping good day.
Wow, that looks wow, okay, that's an amazing hand. That's like a fantastic hand for Silentstorm right now. I mean, he can easily just like eat 5 damage, take down the Watcher. He won't really lose very much, just continues playing spells simply because he can.
Yep. Shadow Step, there we have it, double Shadow Step. Is also gonna just Cold Blood. Now that Goblin is gonna deal 8 damage, and he is just taunting Chung right now. Do you have Giants? This is the time.
And the answer is no. he doesn't have a giant.
Nope, Siphon Soul, but that's going to try and heal him up to just about 13. It's not good enough. Leroy Jenkins, Shadow Slap. This is one painful finish.
Yeah, and I think it's really fitting because, you know, we're at a tournament here. It's going to be one of those fantastic tournament finishes that we all keep talking about, that we all see like the established pro players playing. You know, I think it's really great to like, you know, just see something like that finish everything out. I think it's so sad that Chung lost his Leroy Jenkins. Really sad. Absolutely depressing. What do you think he can do now to try and save himself?
Well, effectively, even with Siphon Soul, he can heal up, but even if he heals up, there is nothing he can really do. There is no taunt for him to copy on the field as well. Soulfire can kill the 8-4, but he's going to lose the card. There is no way he can stop the Leroy combo without those taunts. And that is one problem, unless he plays something that is crazy. You know, one good way you can stop Leroy combo is to flood the board.
Yeah, that's true. But I think also at this point, okay, he's going to actually draw a card and wow, okay, he gets his Alex Straza. That might buy him a little bit of time next turn. I don't think he's going to survive the next turn. He doesn't have a taunt.
He doesn't, that's right. So
I think that's GG right now.
It's just kind of sad that Chung doesn't have the coin. If he has, he can at least play Director's Hand. That would help a little bit, you know. It's still not good enough.
He's refusing to give up though. I mean, I can understand, you know, it's true. But there's not much that he can do, right?
Yep. So he can't even play the combo heal there. No Siphon Soul, Othering Fuster to heal him to 16 as well.
Little bit left to
Silentstorm is like, yeah, whatever. You know? So perfect turning.
There we go. We got the Leroy.
Yeah, and Chung, let's just look at his face right now. He knows that at one, it's just gonna come back. This nightmare is gonna haunt him for a few turns right now. So that's the second Leroy, and that's gonna be good enough. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, Silentstorm takes this 3-2, and with that, we will have one more grand finals match, the ace match.
Okay, I think this has been a very interesting combination of matches so far. You've seen one player, Chung, who's played some very traditional decks here, but you've seen Silentstorm play something really more adaptive. And if you watch his previous match with Lunacy, also the case. Clearly he's got a lot of answers. He's clearly been playing this game a lot lately.
I'm just glad it's not me, because I wasn't casting the Lunacy game and he still got those answers he needed.
Yeah.
And so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be back in just about 5 minutes. We're going to set the next pair up for stream here, and that will be the ace match to decide who's going to take home $300 in cash, Singapore dollars of course, as well as trophies, prizes, sponsored by Logitech, 8 sets as well, and who's going to go home without any money.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Call of War. We hope you've been enjoying the cast.
See you guys in a while.